We are good, Satya.
Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to CSA webinar series. In this session, we are going to give you some foundational course on what are the basics of cloud security, what are the key concepts of controls you need to apply on cloud so that you can safeguard the cloud environment. We are also going to give you certain practical sessions and demos on how you can build your new account and how you can build access controls, etc. on and practice it. And you are going to do the practice and then present it to us. And some of you, the best of the group will be actually presenting on the session 2, where we will be discussing the learnings as well as the new questions you might have got while practicing it. That is the session 2. So today's session, what we are going to cover is we will give you an idea of what is CSA Bangalore in the beginning, and then we go with the foundation course. Yeah. Welcome again. Just let me give you the foundations of CSA. What is CSA Bangalore and what is CSA itself? Cloud Security Alliance. Can you go on to the next slide, please, Sujata? So CSA, which is Cloud Security Alliance, is a world-leading organization dedicated to define and raising awareness for cloud best practices. This is a global organization defining architectures, defining guidelines, giving suggestions, also offer trainings and webinars and even workshops to build that competency of cloud security across. Cloud Security Alliance is the first to actually come up with certain guidelines on cloud. So that's why it is the base for majority of our any cloud implementations. People refer to Cloud Security Alliance for it. So Cloud Security Alliance have multiple chapters across the globe. So CSA Bangalore is one of its kind, and then we started our chapter 3 years back. However, we registered as a entity, non-profit organization last year. Since then, we are doing a lot of activities. Our vision is to provide a platform through which we can incubate ideas and then do research in order to build and sustain secure cloud environment. And our idea also is to enrich the experience and also increase the awareness of cloud security among professionals and academians. And our mission is to create and share best practices in building security embedded in cloud environment. While doing so, we want to promote collaboration between industry and academia. So we do have our affiliates, VICES, and today we are affiliated with Amrita University for this webinar. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So we have done a lot of events since last 3 years. In 2018, we actually started or had a first initial annual workshop or annual event where we have a full day workshop where various leaders from um, across the world came and presented their best practices of cloud security. That's where we started. And we conducted the similar sessions in 2019 and 20. And 2020 onwards, we started the practice of local activities in Bangalore, where we conducted webinar session in association with News Technology Services, which is a News Corp company. And then we've also conducted an annual virtual summit for 3 days, where leaders from Asia Pacific as well as global organizations came together and presented their thoughts and best practices. And we also in 2021, we conducted another webinar series similar to what you are going to see today, which was a huge success, based on which we are conducting this session today. Along with that, we also conduct research work where you will all welcome to join, because you all become members as a part of this webinar. Even you also got a annual membership as a part of the affiliation with Amrita. So we do have multiple research works going on, some of them completed, some of them in progress. The one which was completed is about CSA Cloud CSA CCM matrix, where we have added RBI guidelines to it and released addendum. That was done in 2019. Now we are working on cloud adoption survey, how BFSI sector, which is banking and finance sector, is adopting cloud, and then what are the challenges they are facing. That's something which we are working on right now. And we do have a core group which we are with whom we are working, and the future research group, we will ensure that the new members get a chance to participate. Moving on to the next slide, where we are going to just explain what are the key areas where we are planning the activities. One, as I just mentioned, the research leadership, where the members will get a chance to participate. And second is industry collaboration, where you get a chance to listen from industry leaders through webinars, through workshops, and also the annual events. And we are also planning to conduct different trainings. One of them is CCSK, where we signed recently a training agreement. CCSK is the basic certification for getting cloud security fundamentals, which we will be starting soon. That is something we'll start with. However, there are various other programs will be coming from this group. And in the, last but not the least, we are also looking forward for those enthusiast members who are interested to have some career mentoring, who can join. You can just ask for help among the core group of CSA Bangalore, or we can actually align with the industry members for getting career guidance or mentorship. So that's the fourth aspect. With that, let me go to the today's session. Can you move on to the next slide, please, Sujata? So today's session, you are going to hear from two experts. Sujata Yakasari, who she is an expert in application security and cloud security. And then she's going to give you an overview of cloud computing essentials today. And following that, we do have a AWS certified architect, Akash Gupta. He is going to give you a demo and practical knowledge and tips on how do we build some activities on cloud. Specifically, we picked AWS, but you can do similar experience on Azure and GCP. We have given that material as well. So without further ado, let me call Sujata to take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Satya. Hello, everyone. I wish you all a very good morning. Hope you and your families are doing good and staying safe. I really appreciate the enthusiasm in you joining us in this beautiful Saturday morning amid this COVID situation out there, right? So really appreciate that. Keep it up. Before I get into today's topic, I would like to know, or we would like to know, the audience, right? So we will put up 3 questions in the poll section. Please go ahead and answer as soon as possible so that we know you, what your interests are and what you are doing, so that we can continue with our session. So may I request Jagriti to start the poll?
Sure, Sujata. So launch the poll. No one has voted yet. Attendees, are you able to select an option? Okay, yes, it's starting now. Okay.
Okay.
Please let me know, Sujata, when you want to end the poll.
Yeah, so I think we've received 27 people. What is this? 27 out of 53? That's attendees.
Total attendees.
Okay. So may I request all the attendees to take part in this actively, please? Okay, so I think we can end the poll.
Sure. Done.
Yeah. So yeah, good to see that, we have a lot of students with the basic knowledge on cloud computing, and it's really great to see most of your career interest is towards cybersecurity, which is excellent, and I think that is why you are here today, right? So yeah, I see a lot of other students and professionals opted for artificial intelligence. Yeah, this is all other technologies are also emerging technologies, so you should be having option for that. And don't worry that if you are just taking the option of big data or artificial intelligence or IoT, right, be it any technology, so you have to come across this the so-called emerging technology, or the main technology which is at most important in today's world is a cybersecurity. So every technology has to deal with this cybersecurity, right? Okay, so bug bounty hunters, yeah. So there are a couple of them who take part in this bug bounty programs, right? So good to see. Thanks for your time, and thanks for letting us know the kind of participants that we have today. Great to see. So without further ado, let me get on to this today's topic. Cloud computing fundamentals, and in this I will also be touching upon the cloud security basics, right? So that after that it will be followed by Akash with the practice session. Okay, so if you see before cloud computing, or when there is no word called cloud computing, it used to be all organizations or institutes have to have a physical server room, right? And any technical glitch or anything happens, a person has to go, the admin has to go and see what happened in the server room, right? So now, if you happen to see, especially in this pandemic, adoption of cloud computing has increased multifold, right? So you all know why. So what this pandemic situation has brought to the table, right? So we all need a shift towards the cloud computing because of various reasons. The main reason is we cannot risk the human life in this situation to go and get contracted with the virus or anything of that sort. So we try as much as possible to access these computer resources remotely over the internet. So this will make our lives easier. So any technical glitch or anything happens, so everything is dealt over the cloud or the internet itself. So sitting anywhere, it doesn't matter, right, which device that you are accessing for, or which location from where you are accessing it, right? So it's a completely location and device agnostic. So you can access the computing resources from your laptop, mobile or desktop, right? So cloud computing, the main purpose of cloud computing is to serve the remote users, as many users as possible over the internet, and provide the computing resources on demand. So whatever computing capacity that the consumer wants it, so they can go ahead and get those things, right? So let us understand the essential characteristics of cloud computing. So the first thing is, first thing is on-demand self-service. So as I was talking about, the drift towards cloud computing is mainly because you get on-demand availability of resources. So you don't need to depend on any administrator or any human per se to to provision you what computing resources that you need. So you as a consumer or you as a user can go ahead and place the request what computing resources that you want, right? And then, as I already mentioned, the broad network access. So it will be able to cater over the standard networks anywhere. If you are trying to access remotely, so you should be able to access the network from any device, right? And then resource pooling. So resource pooling is all about, using or sharing these computing resources like network, storage, or servers, right? So with multiple tenants, right? Sometimes it also possible that multiple clients are served from a same physical server also, right? So you should be able to share the computing resources with among other clients also. Then the next important thing is rapid elasticity. So what is this rapid elasticity? Which is, I think this is a very, very important factor of cloud computing. So now take an example of Amazon sale. So I think it will last for 3 to 4 days, right? So in order to cope up with the increased demand or the increased traffic of users trying to access this because of the sale, Amazon has to cope up with this increased network traffic and bandwidth. So they expect these services, computing services, to auto scale and auto scale down. So whenever they feel that there is a necessity to spin up more servers, so it has to happen automatically. And whenever they see that there is no lot of demand, so the servers can go down, right? So that rapid elasticity is very, very important in the cloud computing. So other one is that, measured services. So it will track or monitor all your, activities and the usage patterns per se. So how much you use, so you have to only pay for that service. So you don't need to pay anything additional, right? For example, you spin up an instant and you're using it and you feel that it is no longer needed, right? So you can just shut it down. So no need to keep it and just keep paying for it, right? So monitoring of your billing on your account is also possible in case of cloud computing. Okay, so now most of us, so most of you are students, that's what I could sense it from the participants, the poll that we did. Most of us, are consciously or unconsciously are consuming or using the cloud resources, right? Or cloud computing capabilities, right? So can you give one particular example which you are using the cloud computing services? It's not necessary that you have to launch a AWS. You have to sign up for AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, create an instance, and then start uploading a website. Or that only then you will be called as you are using the cloud computing, or you are the expert of cloud computing, right? So, but in day-to-day lives, we are using a lot of these cloud computing capabilities. Can someone just name one? So we are looking at this session to be interactive so that it is easy. Yeah, I think it is better to put it in the chat. Kaviraj? Okay, so in the interest of time, let me go ahead and talk about it. So if you're using your phone, right, smartphone, right? So what will happen if your maximum storage size reaches, right? So what do, you go and purchase the additional storage. So if you're using an iPhone, so you go and purchase additional storage in iCloud. So if you might be using your Gmail or Yahoo or anything, but without knowing the background, what is happening, right? So I want to bring another example on another industry example where these days IoT is making a lot of noise, right? So for example, a patient who has the smartwatch or smartphone, right? So he can have the health app installed in this smartwatch and the smartphone, and the provider of this particular software might be using this particular cloud computing to only store the data, right? So he can just use this to only store the data in the cloud. So if, for example, if the chip or something is installed on the human body, which uses the AI and ML technologies, so it extract all the information, necessary health information from the patient, and it will send that to the cloud, right? So from there, it is accessed by the doctor or health center or caretakers. So all this happens through the APIs, right? So API is, through APIs, they can input, store the data or extract the data from the cloud. So another example which I wanted to give you, which is the most important and most prominent one, which is actually entertaining you all in this lockdown. So how on earth this Netflix is serving 200 million subscribers without compromising on the video quality, the video streaming quality, and the audio? So they have worked out a very simple microservices architecture, where see, the moment you click on a play button on the Netflix, right? So what happens in the background is this. So a request will be sent to the Amazon load balancer. The load balancer will route the request to the API gateway. So API is nothing but application program interface, which will allow two components to talk to each other, right? So that will actually send this request to the relevant API, which is responsible for playing the video back to you. So that will go and fetch the content that you are requesting first from the data store like Amazon S3 bucket or data stores, and you will have a wonderful experience at the end, right? So without further, without delay or without compromising on the performance, so on and so forth. Okay, so another instance could be your Instagram, Spotify, right? Okay. So now let us quickly, hope you are all with me so far. Okay, moving ahead, let us talk about the cloud deployment models. So what are the cloud deployments models that are available? So now first just understand what is public cloud. So public cloud is something which is open for all to share, to store the data, and to access the data based on the pay-per-use model. This is completely managed by the cloud service provider. So this kind of environment is completely managed by the cloud service provider. And then you have private cloud, which is dedicated for a particular organization or an institute like you, right? So this particular private cloud environment or the data center has to be managed by the respective organizations or institutes. So this requires a lot of technical capabilities to handle this. And next thing is community cloud, which is used by a similar group of different group of organizations or similar communities, right? So this is shared among different organizations within the same, in the same lines who does this business, or different communities. So this can be managed either by one or two organizations or one or two communities who are sharing this model, right? So hybrid cloud is something, it's a mix of any of these two, right? So predominantly a hybrid cloud is actually, these days referred as, public cloud plus private cloud. Okay, so now let us understand what are the service models that are available with cloud, right? So since I have seen most of you have mentioned that you have a basic knowledge about the cloud computing. I am assuming that you all must have heard these names called infrastructure as a service, IaaS, platform as a service, PaaS, and software as a service, SaaS, right? So I would like to explain this and this concept by bringing the pizza as a service analogy, right? So let us understand it from that. So let's talk about the on-prem model. So what is this on-prem model? On-prem model, what I mentioned is that, where it is completely managed by you. The data center is completely managed by you. So no one has control over it. So if I compare this analogy with the pizza as a service, it is like your homemade pizza. So you cook your own pizza. You add what toppings you want, and how much of dough you want, how much sauce you want, cheese, right? So it's completely you manage that. And then infrastructure as a service, if I have to connect this with the pizza as a service analogy, so you share your kitchen. You share your kitchen to prepare the pizza. So similarly, that is like take and bake. So you go to a DMart or any in a supermarket. So you can also think that you are just taking a frozen pizza, coming home and then cooking it and eating it, right? So here in the infrastructure as a service, the cloud service provider will just provide you the necessity hardware which is just needed, for you to make the pizza or whatever. So if you want to talk about the application, so they will only provide the hardware which is needed. So rest everything has to be managed by you. So another thing is pizza delivered. Okay, so pizza delivered. So here, what is your worry? So you will be sitting you will place an order to get your pizza. You'll be sitting on the dining table and you will only be worrying about the pizza. So whether the pizza will be, how the pizza is going to be, right? So your worry is only about the pizza. So similarly, in the PaaS, a cloud service provider model, so you will only worry about, your application which gets deployed there, right? And also to certain extent, the deployment solution stack. And then you have the last but not the least, the software as a service model with analogy as a pizza as a service. It is like went pizza dine outing. So for example, your friends have invited you for a pizza party. So you're not even using any of your resources. You're not even using your dining table to sit and eat. So you are just going there and enjoying the pizza, which is prepared and readily available for you to eat. So similarly, if you compare this with the cloud service provider model, so everything is ready. The software is ready for you to consume and use it. So for example, you have your Gmail or your Microsoft Office, right? So you have everything ready. So now let us talk about the governance in the cloud. So this predominantly talks about what kind of a control I have, what kind of a liability I have, what kind of an accountability that I have, right? So this governance model in the cloud, talks about, if you take the left-hand side first two on-premises models, so where you can see that, organization will have, or you as an individual, if you want to set up your own data center, so you will have the complete control on the model. So as you move on, as you drift towards IaaS to the SaaS model, so you can see that, slowly your organization control is diminishing and the vendor control is, going to increase, right? So these are some of the examples of cloud service models that are available. So you can just go and take a look at it and understand it, how they are offering their services. Okay, so far so good. So we talked about basics of cloud computing. What are the characteristics of cloud computing? What are the deployment models that are available, and what are the service models, right? So there are also myths on cloud security. So cloud security, the myths are like, people are assuming that cloud is inherently secure. Cloud security, why we need to bother? Cloud security is the responsibility of the cloud security provider. So why we need to monitor for attacks that are possible from the hackers? That's not necessary. We don't need to monitor. So we don't need to bother about the compliance and regulatory standards. So that's the common myths that are there. But let us take a deep dive and check the facts, right? And let us understand what is actually the truth, right? Okay, so just to talk about the cloud security basic definition from Wikipedia, it is all about protecting your data, which is getting stored remotely on the servers in the cloud, and the servers which holds this data from any of the hacks that are possible. So predominantly we look at three principles, whether these three principles are getting breached or not. So what are these three principles? The confidentiality, integrity, and availability, just to make sure these three principles are not breached in the cloud, right? So this CIA triad will actually help the organizations to take certain decisions based on the amount of risk they are going to take. So this will help organizations or institute to formulate their own strategies, the policies around it, right? So it's very important to understand what are these three principles which actually drive the information security posture of any organization. So confidentiality is all about ensuring that data is only accessible to the authorized users. Then the integrity is ensuring that information or data is trustworthy from the source where it is originated to the destination where it is getting stored. It's not tampered with or tweaked with any unauthorized users or malicious hackers. Availability is something just ensuring that information and the servers which are supposed to be accessible are always available for the authorized users only, right? Okay, so this is all about this, and as I mentioned, so there were myths, so let us see the fact checks, right? Okay, so as I was mentioning that, this pandemic has taught a lot of lessons to most of the organizations, and it has, given, it became like a booster for most of the organization to migrate towards the cloud. Right. So in the similar process, this company called Wise Labs, a smart camera making company based out of US, was migrating their physical servers to the cloud, and maybe basically they are, welcoming the cloud computing adoption in their organization. But apparently, one of the employee did a blunder mistake by, not protecting the database with the authentication. So that led researchers in the community researchers group called 12 Security. They spotted this breach and they disclosed 2.5 million users' personal data. Right. So do you understand this? So cloud security or cloud security is not inherently secure. So it has its own challenges. It has its own things to add if you are not using it wisely or configuring it is wisely, right? So we need technical resources who are working on this should have a enormous amount of knowledge in dealing with this cloud security, right? So this is some of the things that they have listed which got compromised in this 2.5 million users data. So there were API token to user account apart from this username and email address and all that. So there is also Alexa tokens where some 24,000 users were connected this Alexa device to this smart smart camera, and there are informations like the health informations of the personal informations of the consumers, like height, weight, gender. So all these things got deployed is just because of one simple mistake by the employee. So let us take another example where a developer committed, when you say committed, so to a GitHub repository. So GitHub is like a source code version control system where their source code, what they maintain is actually, they can keep on adding changes to it. So the developer in Starbucks, so he committed an API key to the GitHub repository. So one of the security researcher, when he was doing his research or doing his bug bounty hunting and so on and so forth, through the well-known platforms like HackerOne and Bugcrowd. So he spotted this and he has used this API key, which has actually allowed him access to the Starbucks Jump Cloud API. Further to that, I think the security researcher name is Vinod Kumar. He further did a POC and demoed to Starbucks how he can get hold of, access into the AWS account, how he can list the systems, how he can perform the commands, right? How can he could execute the commands, right? So that's why this particular vulnerability was classified as a very critical in this. And you all know, it's not just this, API key of this particular, which gave access to the Jump Cloud API. Most of the time, the developers or the organizations, they do silly mistakes like, committing the AWS account keys also into the GitHub repositories, right? So, but when the breach is something like this, happens, and then the expression of a developer would be like this, right? Oh, I committed AWS keys, right? So, but such mistakes are blessings for hackers. So it's like a gold mine for hackers. Right. So this particular researcher, Vinod Kumar, who spotted the Starbucks issue, he was rewarded with $4,000 as a bounty. Okay, so now let's understand the importance of application security and identity and access management in cloud, right? Okay, so as I was mentioning that, it's not that the complete responsibility is on the cloud service provider. For example, if you take in case of SaaS model, so that's the shared responsibility. So you need to be responsible for your own data, right? So you need to bother about your own data and make sure you are configuring it in the right way, right? So similarly in the other models that you use, so most of the times the issues that we face, the problems that we face in this field is misconfiguration of application setup. So now let us take a real world hack that FedEx customers' data was exposed. Right. So in this, some lakhs of FedEx customers' sensitive data was there in the Amazon S3 bucket, and that Amazon S3 bucket was made public, which means that anybody who has access to that, who can just get hold of this URL for this bucket, so they can see this complete sensitive data. Right. Not only this, we'll discuss about all other things later. So unauthorized access is another big thing to look at, right? So you should always make sure you are providing or you are taking a path of least privileged access. So by default, you just say deny all. So only you just make sure on the need basis, you provide them the necessary access that is required. So just make sure to whom we should be giving access to, whether you need to give the user the S3 bucket access, or whether you need to give this user Git repository deployer access, or you need to give access to so-and-so user to log into a server, or any of the computing resources, right? So you use all your policies and everything that is there available in your cloud. Make use of such provisions which are available diligently, and make sure you provide the right access to the right personnel. And most importantly, when you provide a certain access to the user, and if the user is no longer associated with your organization or an institute, or no longer part of a particular group where he was belonging to, right? And if he's moved out of that particular group to a different group, so make sure you revoke the access which is given to them. Do not give unnecessarily higher privilege access to the users, right? So if you, so there is another example of 500 million customer data was stolen in Marriott, right? So this was possible because somebody could access their website unauthorizedly, so their credentials were compromised, and they could they could commit to this such a big crime. And it appears that two of the employees who are responsible for running the self-service portal for the Marriott hotel, so apparently they were using some weak password or something, and unauthorized parties, they kind of brute forced it, and they could get into it and get away with this confidential data. Right. So insecure APIs and interfaces is a very, very important topic in case of cloud computing. Why? Because I'll tell you. So in case of the earlier scenario, the cloud computing, but what I was talking about. So if at all you need to get away, a hacker or a criminal need to get away with the data from the corporate server room. So he first have to breach the perimeter firewall, and then or the other way is like he had to literally break into the walls and get into the server room, get away with the server, and just create a temporary denial of service kind of a thing, right? So like but whereas now we are moving everything to the cloud. So your sensitive data is there on the cloud, right? So now how are we going to secure? So these APIs are the only ones which are in the architecture that we see. So these are the only ones which are outside of your trusted zone and accessible publicly. If these APIs are not protected with proper identity and access management policies, so what can go wrong is, for the hacker, it is very simple now. He only have to convince a particular user to compromise his credentials. He can do that via phishing or anything. And then once his credentials, user's credentials are compromised, so that, a hacker can take it and impersonate it and get away with the sensitive data. So this is so important topic, identity and access management in this cloud computing. So account hijacking, I mentioned it. And not only these mistakes, right? So most of the time it is also observed that we are, hard coding the plain text credentials of databases and very secret services related credentials on GitHub or configurations files, or on the web page source code, right? I mean, source page, view source. Right, so we are giving out all these simple things. And another big thing in case of application security is that the open source components that we use in order to build the application faster and reach it to the cloud clients, right? So we tend to use, in order to use your development work, so you tend to use the open source libraries that are available. And but if you are not concerned about patching them, so you look at this Equifax breach, which was classified as the biggest breach. Right. So what happened here, one of the open source library called Apache Struts, which was vulnerable, and there was a payload which is available publicly, and hackers were using that and exploiting it prominently. But the Equifax has neglected the recommendations that were given by the internal security team, and they have not patched that. And then you can see the breach as added to loss of 143 million users, customer credit card information and things like that, right? So, but anyway, whatever it is, right, all these things adds up to, but the hackers are, having a very great time, party time, right, if you say. So they are actually, so hackers are getting a lot of benefit out of this, right? Okay. So now let us talk about the encryption and key management importance in the cloud computing. So it is our responsibility to make sure anything that we classify it as a sensitive and confidential information, make sure we encrypt that. It could be in the transit or it could be at the rest. So when it is at the rest, so make sure you encrypt that data with the proper secure algorithms, industry standard security algorithms. And it's not that always encryption, right? So sometimes your compliance regulations might demand you to mask the data or hash the data, depending on the needs, right? So how do you ensure in the transport layer security? You use TLS 1.1 and above, and then make sure you encrypt the transport layer security, right? And whatever the keys, like for example, private keys that you are generating for your account in AWS, and also any confidential information which you are trying to encrypt using AES 256, right? So that keys, right, you need to it can be stolen by the hackers or seen by other people. So make sure you store them in a proper locations, like Key Vault or HSM module is there, CyberArk module is there. So make sure you store them in a secure location. And also it is very important to rotate the keys on a regular interval, right? So these are some of the things that that I wanted to talk about in the data encryption and key management. Okay, so now comes to the network security. Okay, so network security is all about protecting your data center and having your perimeter firewall, right? There are some things called next gen firewalls. So make sure you what is the inbound traffic that you are expecting into your environment, what is the outbound traffic, right? So you should be able to control all these things in a very effective manner, making use of all the latest technologies that are either provided by the cloud service providers or there are other vendors who offer these as a service, right? So you can use that. So another thing here we can talk about is a WAF configuration, application firewall. So you can configure what kind of rules that you want to configure there. So make sure you configure like what kind of request that you want to avert back, and what kind of request that you want to accept into it. So for example, if there is a hacker is trying to do a cross-site scripting kind of an attack, so at the firewall level, WAF itself, right? So you can reject that payload coming into your network, right? And also what kind of ports that you want to enable. Just let's not enable all the ports which are not necessary. For example, SSH is a very dangerous thing, right? So what kind of protocols, secure protocols that you want to, so what kind of services that you want to expose outside the trust boundary, and what are the services that you want to keep it within the trust boundary, right? So that hackers cannot, break that firewall and get into your network and, get away with the information, right? So this is something that I wanted to talk quickly about that. And then the next thing is incident response and security operations on cloud. So as I mentioned that, monitoring is not just the responsibility of the cloud provider, right? So you need to monitor your own traffic, the network traffic which is coming your way. So make sure you have your proper, intrusion detection softwares or intrusion prevention softwares, and make sure you can use the latest, AI actions then and there if possible, right? And if any incident happens, make sure you have a proper incident plan which is developed to address the particular attack which happened on your network, and have a proper analysis done on that, and then have a proper remediation plan to address that. And also, if any of the services that are averted or that are spoiled because of this particular attack, so just make sure you recover those services back, right? So legal and compliance is aspect, as was mentioning that, so not just so for example, as I mentioned that, cloud computing is a location agnostic. So it doesn't mean that, the data center which is holding the data in India, if it is classified as secure, it doesn't mean that the same thing applies to European countries, right? So every geography has their own compliance rules and the legal, so they don't allow you to transfer your data out of a particular region, right? To transfer move that data from one region to another region. So there are various compliance regulatory standards which are out there, like GDPR and privacy related standards, and also PCI DSS, HIPAA. So just make sure we need to, we take a look at that and make sure we, adhere to those things. Okay, so quickly, I just wanted to give you who is, who is responsible for what. So responsibility for cloud service model for all this security. So how customer is responsible for all this kind of different securities aspects, and how a provider is responsible for different kinds of security aspects, right? Okay, so I talked about, these are the top threats to cloud computing. I think I almost talked about everything, but there is one thing, that the sixth one, which is a insider threat, right? So let me just talk about that, and then we'll move on to the further slides. So the insider threat is very, very prevalent, right? So if the employee in the organization is not happy with, or if he is angry with someone, and if he wants to take a revenge on the organization, he will create some loophole in the system, and he only knows that, how this can be corrected. So for example, there is Capital One breach which happened pretty recently. So in that, the ex-employee of Amazon, she started accessing the servers of Capital One. So she only knew how to, bypass the WAF which is configured and get access to the S3 bucket, which stores the credentials of those servers. So she started doing that, and she I think some 110 million customer data was breached or something in this thing. So insider threat is also a very, very big thing in this. So we need to keep a watch on these things. So it's not like once you set and forget, right? So you need to keep checking who has access to what, whether we are promptly revoking their access when the employee leaves the organization, and things like that, right? So in order to deal with this complete cybersecurity risk management as such, so there is NIST framework which provides you a detailed way and step-by-step way to how to tackle this and address this. So this is it starts with in identifying what is the impact or the cybersecurity risk which is involved to your systems, your people, your assets, right? And then you develop and implement the appropriate safeguards once you identify those risks, right? So then develop and implement appropriate activities that are needed to identify the occurrence of a cybersecurity. So it is like detecting the cybersecurity attack and responding to the attack once it happens, right? So how do you recover your impaired services which were, breached by the attack, right? So this is completely detailed plan which is available as part of the NIST. We can go through it and understand it better. So it's very important that what are we trying to protect as part of this, right? So this is in the simple step-by-step form which is mentioned. So we can just make use of this and start creating a cyber risk management program and start addressing the cybersecurity risk in this. So this is what I have to cover in this short duration which was given to me. Hope I was able to deliver what you wanted or what you are looking for. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. After this, I'll be handing over the session to Akash Gupta.
Hey, thank you, Sujata. I think that's wonderful with your industry examples and the breach use cases. I think that was useful for people. I think team, please feel free to ask questions. We are here to answer. There are a few of panelists here to answer your questions. Just feel free. In order to manage the time with just, we are going ahead with our cloud architect, Akash Gupta, for the next session to give you a practice part. And also please be conscious if you are not earlier. I know the sessions are very interesting, but if you're not attending that, it's fine. But now when you're going to the lab, this is something you need to focus, guys, because you need to do actual practice and give us the real implementation and showcase it on next Saturday. So follow through each of the instruction given by Akash. Any questions you have for the session, what Sujata given, just please ask any questions you have in the Q&A, and we will come back to you in the end of the session to answer any of them which are not answered on the Q&A. Akash, back to you.
Sujata, can you stop sharing so that I can share my screen, please?
Sure, I'll do that.
बोनो एक बार दरवाजा बंद करो प्लीज, अब बाद में आना. मेरे को वीडियो कैमरा खोलना अपना. दरवाजा बंद करो. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
So you can see my screen.
Akash, no, we are not able to see the screen share yet.
Sorry for that. Let me share my screen, please. Can you see now?
Yes, Akash, please go on.
Thank you. Okay, so Sujata, thank you so much for giving such a lovely introduction about IS, PAS, and SAS, and cybersecurity. So just to let you know, since most of the people are interested in cybersecurity, we have covered a lot of the things here, right? Now, we are moving towards a practical sessions where we are going to discuss something about the practicals, okay? Now, what we are going to discuss. There are a large number of cloud service providers. Okay, now AWS, Azure, Google, Alibaba, and all those things. Now, why we have chosen AWS? It's because it's simple to use, and again, it's one of the famous and popular cloud providers. So that is why we have taken AWS. AWS, if you open an account in AWS, then in that case, you actually get a service free for 12 months. That is 1 year. Now, saying that, people assume that the service is free for all the services are free for 12 months. Answer is no. All services are not free for 12 months. There is a website where you have to check what are the things which is free. For example, S3 bucket, 5 GB storage is free. Virtual machine, 750 hours are free. So I'm not going to explain you what are free services are there, but you have to go and type free tier limits on AWS. Then in that case, you will be able to see what are free services which are available. Okay. So what we are going to cover today, that we are covering today, create a free account on AWS, S3 bucket, and host a static web page. Now, after that, there's a small exercise which will be given to you. You have to come back to with this exercise. Out of this, 3 people will be selected, 3 groups will be selected. It's not a competition basically, but yes, what we are trying to demonstrate here is that what is your learning from here? So 3 best presentations will be selected and they will get a chance to give a demo of what they have done. Okay, now let me proceed further. This is exercise scenario 1. This is scenario 2. You will get details of it. Now, important point, if you are not able to understand, you will get a link to the videos. Okay, now those videos, you have to watch it carefully. If it may happen that first time you're not able to understand it. So what you have to do, answer is very simple. Just repeat the video again and again. You should watch video at least 2 times. And after watching it 2 times, you should start doing the practicals and it will be easy for you. What we are covering is that we are going to show you the practical through slides, basically. So let's start with it. This is simple. In Google, you just have to type AWS new account sign up. Now, what you will do is that you will go to portal.aws.amazon.com. Okay. Now, people may say that why I'm going to Google. Then just type this portal.aws.amazon.com/billing sign up start. That means you're going to sign up. Now, what is the email address? Email address can be a Gmail, can be a Hotmail, can be a Yahoo, but do not share your email password with anyone. Okay. Now you are typing your email password. Okay. Now, important point, just which I told you that, for example, your email ID is abcd@gmail.com. It should not be shared with anyone else, because if you forget your information, it will be used for the recovery purpose. Okay. Now, here you will type your email address, then you will type your password and confirm password. The password will be different. Now, AWS account name, you can give a nickname, right? For example, your name is Abhishek. You can give AWS account Abhishek AWS, and then click on continue. Now, this is a very, very important page where you have to provide the information. Now, I request you to pay attention. This is the checkbox which you have to select. Check here to indicate that you have read and agree to the term of AISPL customer agreement. Now, AISPL is basically actually for India. Okay. Now, what you have to do is that you have to select personal, full name, phone number. Important thing is that don't give any wrong phone number. Okay. Give your region as India and give your address. Okay. This is very important. All the data should be correct. Phone number will be used for the verification purpose. So it's very simple. I have spent some time here. And let me proceed towards the next page. Now, the payment details. This is an area where you have to provide your credit card and debit card. AWS will deduct ₹1 and it will revert back that amount ₹1. Okay. Now, important point. Do credit card and debit card should be in your name? Answer is no. You can use your uncle, your papa, your mother's or father, any credit card or debit card. It should be valid one. You have to provide a card holder name. Okay. Now, once you provide a card holder name, do you have to provide a PAN card? Answer is no, it's not necessary. Okay. So you can select as no, but remember, credit card, debit card should be correct. Expiry date name should be correct and card holder name is correct. If you put a wrong information, then modifying that information is difficult and ₹1 will not be deducted, and hence your account will be created, but you cannot create any further services into it. So providing this information is very, very important. Now it will ask your phone number, where it will send you a message verification code. Once it sends a verification code, you provide the verification code, and the next page is very, very important. It will ask you to select a plan. Always select a basic plan. Never select a developer plan, a business plan, because it's $100. I have seen people selecting by mistake developer plan and business plan. So you have to select a basic plan. Okay. After selecting the basic plan free, it will ask you what is your role. Select it as a student and what you're interested in, certification. Clear? Now proceed further. Now you have to type AWS console login. Okay. So once you type, I want to log into the console, it will take you to the console. Correct. You have to select a root user. Why you are selecting a root user? Because you are using your email ID to sign into the system. Just type the email ID, then type the password here. After typing the password, you will be able to log in and you will see the AWS console board. So what we are going to start? We are going to start with the first service called S3. Now, guys, pay attention here. Don't worry. You will be getting a videos. Okay. So if you're paying attention here and then watching the videos, if you watch the video 2 times, everything will be clear. It is a cakewalk for you. So you have to type S3. Once you type S3, you will see that box. So this is I called as a search box. Okay. Now in search box, you have to type S3, service will come. Now you have to select a bucket name. Now bucket name is unique. At any point of time, if you do not understand, then AWS provides a link called Learn More. If you click on Learn More, it will tell you what is this service for and how to create it. Now you're going to create a bucket. Okay. Now, once you create a bucket, after that, you have to keep all the settings as default. For example, in my case, the bucket name is Taste Bucket AKI 12. Now, there are naming convention rules for creating the bucket. You cannot have a space in the bucket name. So what are the rules? Again, this is the highlighter. See rules for bucket naming. You have to select a region. Okay. Now, you may ask, what is a region? Region is a geographical boundary, right? You are working in Mumbai. You want to replicate your data to Australia? Answer no. So you have to select a proper region. I have selected a region called Mumbai. You can also select another regions. There are multiple regions which are provided by AWS. Choose bucket. Now this setting should be checked. Block all public access. Once this is done, your bucket is ready and your bucket can be access right now. So you are going to upload files to the bucket. Okay. So how to upload a file to the bucket? You have to click on the bucket name. There's a upload file section. You upload a file. Now, what is your task? You have to create a static website. This is the link how to create a static website. We'll give you a video also. A solution video will be provided. Everything will be provided, but the solution video will not be provided right now. Right now, we will give you a video which will explain you how to create an account, how to create a bucket. Now, you have to use this link and understand how to create a static website. Okay, so far, we are going to move towards the identity and access management. What is identity and access management? Creating users, basically. Okay. So for example, when you open your Gmail account, you become a user. Basically, you have a username and password, right? Similarly, we create a username and password for other users who can actually access my account or become an administrator. Clear? So you have to again log into the console. Okay. In the search box, you have to type IAM. Under IAM control, you have to create a new group. Okay. Now, then type the group name, grp_s3_read-only. Now click on next step, and you have to attach a policy to the group. Why we are attaching a policy to the group? Because we want to define that what the member of this group can do. So I am attaching a policy called Amazon S3 read-only. That means if any person is a member of this group, he will have a read-only permissions on S3 bucket. Can he create a bucket? Answer is no, because he has a read-only permissions. So I have created a bucket. Okay. Now I'm going to create a user. So same thing, create a user, click add user. Now we will be typing a username. Access type, do not select programmatic access. So what is the programmatic access? We'll cover later. What you have to select is that you have to select a AWS Management Console access, correct? Now, once you select a AWS Management Console, you have to select a custom password and provide your password here. Now, does require password reset? If you don't want the user to reset the password, uncheck this box. Now, important point. Permissions. In permission, you add the user to a group, the group which you created earlier. You have created a group called group S3_read-only. You add the user to this group. Now, what will happen? The interesting thing is that you have to click and create the user. Now you will create the user, you'll get a URL to log in. So what you have to do is that you have to use that URL and log in with the username and password. Correct? This time, do not select the root user. It will, the URL will help you to log in because it will have an account name. Correct? Now, similarly, you can perform other exercise, create S3 full control and all those things and attach policies. You have two videos, IAM Access Part 1 and Part 2. You can watch those videos and this will help you to gain the knowledge further. Correct? Same exercise can be done on Microsoft Azure and Google platform. There is so when you log in, you can create a free account for Azure. You can create a free account for Google Cloud Platform. So we are giving you multiple options for this, and demo wise we have taken for AWS. Okay. Now you can go to these videos and watch this. Okay, I'm stopping my screen sharing and we will open it for the Q&A sessions. Satya, are you there?
Yes, Akash.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for that quick demo. I think it went much quicker this time. Team, as we said, we are here to answer your questions and clarify. We are, as Akash mentioned, we will be sharing the videos of 4 elements. One is how to create free website, how to create a free account on AWS, how to create S3 bucket, and how to create IAM account, and one more. So there are 4 videos will be shared with you, and there are exercises which we are going to share, which you need to actually complete and submit to us by Tuesday. So we'll explain that process just after clarifying your questions. Can you, if you have any questions, we are here to answer. Maybe just within next 10-15 minutes, we can take the questions, and then we can move on to the activities, what we are planning for the next couple of days from now. I know in the virtual session, it's very difficult to ask a question. Right now, if you raise a hand, we will allow you to talk. You can ask your question and we can answer you on the verbal talk as well. Just raise your hand, just ping to us that you want to ask a question.
Satya, one small suggestion. Can we open for all the panelists and attendees so that they can actually even they can ask questions or they can actually talk right now?
Can do that, but it might be little noisy with that many member of people.
Okay.
So I'm just requesting if anybody want to talk, just we can allow them to talk. Okay, there was one question from anonymous attendee with no name. After 12 months, what will happen to the account we didn't pay? So during these 12 months, when you are become a member, we are going to give you whatever webinars or sessions we are conducting. You will be getting the discounts and you will be getting the information and also the all the membership benefits what everyone will get. Also participate in research, participate in best practice sharing, be a volunteer, get some career mentoring. Those are the advantages you get as a member. However, after 12 months, you do not want to be a member, it's okay, it's up to your choice. But right now, as a part of our affiliation with Amrita, so we actually speaking, the session is free and we are also giving practically 50% discount for our annual membership for all the students, right? Just to increase the awareness of cloud security in Amrita University. Hope that helps.
Satya, I think they are asking about AWS account or it is about CSM account.
Okay. So you are asking if you're asking about AWS, maybe Akash, you can answer.
Okay, so see, you are not for 12 months. When I say it is free, I told you it's not, everything is not free. You have to type free tier. Okay, now if you're creating two virtual machines, each virtual machine has a 60 GB of space, you are uploading more than 5 GB of a data, do you have to pay within 12 months? Answer is yes, you have to pay for it. After 12 months, what will happen? After 12 months, none of the service is free. Even if you're running a virtual machine for 1 minute, for 1 hour, you have to pay for it. You can close your account at any point of time, before 12 months also, and after 12 months also. I hope that answers your questions. And what Satya explained is about getting a membership of CSA and the advantage of it.
Akash, there is another question.
So when you say what type of cloud security projects that I can do in a mini project, that's a wonderful question, basically. So in cloud security, you can do many projects. Basically, you can develop your own small application. But when you say cloud security projects, that is a very, very wide question. So when it comes to cloud security, you can actually do a practicals of securing your account. You can use WAF, web application firewall. You can, if you want to become a hacker or bug bounty program, you can actually use a website, create your own website, try to do a simulation on that. These type of things you can do it in the cloud environment. But when you say cloud security projects, the answer is very wide, because cloud security has many areas: governance, cloud, each and every component, there's a security about it. Is it mandatory to use the
maybe I'll attempt to answer
please,
a little
please.
more on that. So see, if you want to do some mini project on AWS, maybe think about building maybe a static web page or building a web application on the cloud. And while doing so, embed all the controls we discussed, right? So application security controls, access controls, and also there are network security controls you need to implement. There are many things you need to do to actually implement an application securely, which requires user permissions, setting the key, user key and administrator key, and also when you are posting that website onto the bucket, S3 bucket, then security for the S3 bucket. And you can also think about how do you open it on the network access list. So there are many elements which come across when you are doing such project. Pick something like that and identify all the security elements you need to implement and take all that into accounting and then show it as a mini project if you are looking it as a mini project. Hope that answers.
There's another question. Is it mandatory to use the same email we used to log into this webinar for AWS account? Answer is you can use it, you cannot use it. It depends upon you. You can go and create a new Gmail account today or a Hotmail or a Yahoo account and use that account for AWS registration. But if you want to use the same account, you are feel free to do that. The only thing which you have to understand is that you should not share the email account password with any of your friends. Okay. And when you're giving your email ID to AWS, you can give a complex password. Now, there's another question. Is the task given to us a group task or individual? The purpose is that individual should watch the video and then discuss in the group. And as a group, one person should prepare a PPT, send it to us, and then we will help you. See, what you're learning from here, individual is learning about AWS, and you are learning about how to collaborate in the group and give the presentation. So that's the purpose of this entire task.
So just to, I think if you do not have any questions, we can continue going ahead with the exercise, but be aware if you have any questions later, please reach us to with an email address support@csabangalorechapter.com. You have any questions during the exercise or during the completing this activity, which we are giving to you soon, right? Please come back to us. And for collaboration is concerned, right? For example, now we do have 60 members, which means each group, we are planning to actually have, earlier we planned to have 10 groups, maybe we can make 6 groups, let's say. So all the 6 groups will have members. So you need to create a mechanism to collaborate. That could be a WhatsApp group, or that could be a any other any other way you can collaborate among yourself to come together and build this activity. Idea here is that everyone, whoever attended, actually learn and practice what we spoke yesterday. Otherwise, webinars are just every day. There are a lot of webinars happening. So this time we just not just give you concepts, but also gives you some practical experience, right? I'm just giving another 30 seconds for you to ask a question. Otherwise, we'll move on to the practice session next. No? Okay, so can we move on to the next slide? Akash, you have that slide open where the next slide where we have that ABCD, group number A, B, C, D. Can you start sharing?
Let me check that. I'm going to share my screen.
Yes, please. I think it's slide 40. Yes.
I hope you can see my screen.
Yes. Okay. You want to go ahead, Akash, explaining it?
No, please continue, Satya.
Okay, so initially we have been conveyed that there will be 100 members, but considering there are 60 members, maybe we can make 6 groups here, right? I'm just looking for a response. I think 6 group is better, right? So which gets actually 50% chance for people to attend, present. So what happens here is each of the group will be completing the practice session objectives, which are listed in the next chart, which is coming up. And you will be making a presentation with screenshots demonstrating the completion of the objectives what are listed there, and share it to support@CS Bangalore with the subject group 1, whichever the group you are. We are going to send you a mail on which group you belong to. So just mention the subject name as group 1, group 2, or whichever the group you are by Tuesday, right? You should complete the project by Tuesday and send that presentation to us. And then out of these 6 groups, only 3 groups will get a chance to present on the day 2, which is actually next Saturday, exactly the same time, 10 o'clock next Saturday. You will be presenting your session. So you nominate out of your group who is going to present the activity, whatever you have done, and then that person will come and others can support while the person is presenting. We make sure that the group get a chance to present here. So we'll ensure that they become the panelists before. So to do all this, we require your submissions by Tuesday, right? As again, I'm repeating, just don't consider that your session is over because you learned it, heard it and left it, then the session is not done. So the majority of the learnings come in the practice session. We observed or we heard in the previous session, there are a lot of people become friends in here and they continue to be with us as our group members. So they learned a lot during this interactive session. So appreciate you work on with becoming groups, right? That's one. And just to give an organization how it works. On the Saturday, first of all, when we introduce, what we will do is we will explain why we have chosen those 3 and what are the strengths and weaknesses of the other 3 presentations, so that you understand why we chosen these 3 as the top 3, right? So that is something we'll present. After that, each group will be given a chance of 15 minutes to present. And then after that 45 minutes are over, we will go on with Q&A session. Generally, it is expected, last time it went, even though we asked for 2 hours, it went for 2.5 hours. You might be surprised to say, you know what, how can this be? But you will understand when we go through that exercise. People can't stop asking questions because they went through the journey of learning, right? So we are looking forward for your active participation. Just can you move on to the next slide, please, Akash? Yeah. So the next, these are the exercise objectives. First is you will be creating a free account on AWS. As Akash very clearly explained how to create a free account on AWS, you will be getting this slide deck, what you are seeing today, which has the snapshot of step-by-step what to do. Along with that, we do have a recorded video on how to do that for both free account as well as S3 bucket. Whereas for static page, we haven't given much of instructions because we just want at least one thing to be experimented by yourself. That's the third one. Whereas this exercise scenario 2, where you will be creating a group called GRP billing, and there is a error scenario you need to create, and then you need to actually fix the scenario. So this is another exercise where we are giving another video on how to create IAM access, username, etc. So to help you out how to manage it. But at the end of the day, what is important is that you follow all these instructions and showcase what you have done and show it to us, right? Not as I said, when you are doing a collaboration virtually, you might be wondering how can we do it? There are 6 people or 10 people who will take the snapshots. We'll leave it to you, to your freedom. But what is important here is each of you learn it and then come back with the learning and share that experience, right? With that, I think the next session is just a thank you, right? Next page is just a thank you. Yeah, so that I want to know if you have any further questions on the explanation so far we gave. If you have any clarification needed, we are here to explain. Can make you actually, we can open the video audio if you want to ask a question orally. Can we select the group or you are selecting the group? That's a good question. So we will be selecting the group and we will be sending you a list saying, for example, ABCD is in the group 1. like that. So you will get that list soon. So you will be nominated to be in group 1, group 2, or group 3.
An important note here. Before you start, based on our experience, we would like to share this. Before you start jumping, please watch the videos carefully. Those videos are prepared considering in the mind that each and every step should be clear. Once you watch the videos, then move towards the exercise. Okay. Each and every exercise also has a hint to complete it. And people are in a habit of doing a Googling. We appreciate that. But starting point is watch those videos. Any questions you have?
Staying silent may not help you, when you are working on the exercise. Just let me tell you. When you're doing the exercise, then you will be looking for help and we are not available, right? You need to wait for our mail to answer you. So it might take more time. Appreciate if you have any questions, please come back now.
Who is this anonymous attendee? Can you please rename yourself?
You got one more question, is it?
No. Yeah, they're asking also, how can we contact them?
How can we contact them? That's a good point. So when we are making the group, we are going to send it in the group email, right? So the group mail, group 1, group 2. So we will be sending that mails. So you know who is there in that mail group. Then you can contact them and get the numbers. We are not collecting the phone numbers or sharing because we don't want to land in a scenario of collection of phone numbers. Hope that helps. Huh?
Satya has made the things very easy. We will be saying that group 1, these are the people and these are the email address. Now, there are different collaborative platform. You can use WhatsApp or any other group. We are not saying that this platform, you have to use it. You can share your phone numbers or one of them can become a leader and open a WhatsApp group or Telegram group or whatever you think is good for you to participate in it. There is a Google Drive. Google Drive you can create for that, for storing the data. From your meeting purpose, you can use Google Meet. So this is a time for you to manage the things. And this is giving you as an opportunity where you have to actually learn as an individual person. Then you have to actually collaborate with the people and then prepare the slide and present it. So best of luck. I know it's too much to ask, but yes, we have to do it. That's what
there's a lot of fun
advantage.
in doing it. Don't worry.
Correct. So best of luck.
Okay, so one more comment on, you might wonder, okay, how did you do it last time? We managed to do it through the previous group have done through WhatsApp group. They become groups and then they manage themselves and they came forward and presented. And you can see our old webinar videos where you see people presenting. So, and they are all professionals and they are not at all known to each other. Whereas at least you are in same college or at least same university. So you might be you might have better context than the professionals who are actually joined across the world. Some people are from Canada, some were from I think one person from Australia. So we got people from different regions, but they collaborated on WhatsApp and then they presented the session, presented the presentation, and they felt the interactive learning was very useful. I hope that's a similar feeling you will get when you are presenting next week. Yep. I know we are pushing on you asking questions, but as I think it's the last chance for, I think, last 30 seconds to ask any more questions. Otherwise, I think we are going to close this session, and then the deliverables from this group to you all is we will be sending you a mail saying which group you are part of, and you will be getting the links to the videos what we mentioned and the presentation what we shared today, right? And also the exercise, right? Exercise is on slide 41, I guess. That's the exercise you need to follow and then complete. So and you know the objectives. Please submit the presentations by Tuesday. So that is most important. Okay. If there are no more questions, and I think we will say thank you, appreciate your learning. Okay, are you sharing these slides? Yes. Yes, Buddhadev, we will be sharing this slide deck. We will be sharing additional videos, what we mentioned. And that will help you, maybe the videos you can, as Akash mentioned, you can see it multiple times to see how to create it and just replicate the steps what Akash mentioned. So the videos will help you to do all the exercise what we stated earlier. I know that was a last moment question by Buddhadev. Anybody else have any other questions? I haven't anticipated the event will be finishing so early, because last time, if you remember, Madhu, Sujata, and Akash, right? We
Yeah.
went for an hour practically.
I know.
I'm not sure. Students
It took more
supposed
time,
to be
actually.
more interactive,
It
right?
took more time. It took more time than what we allotted.
Exactly. So practically we allotted 2 hours, but we stayed for another 1 hour just to answer the questions. But I'm really surprised that students are shy. Huh? Professionals are more bold. Huh? How can that be possible? Are you worried that we are going to not take in our organization if you ask question? We will take you anyway. Just answer away.
I think Vaishnavi has some questions, Satya. She has raised her hand.
Vaishnavi.
Yeah.
What if Vaishnavi? What is the Vaishnavi saying? Have I missed it? Sorry, I can't see. Is it in the chat window? Q&A.
No, I think she raised her hand. I need to unmute or something.
Okay, we can unmute Vaishnavi.
No, she said that was by mistake. She raised her
Oh,
hand.
okay.
That was my mistake. Okay. So can you allow us to select the group? We can select, we can do that, but it's very difficult to coordinate. You allow you to do that, then we don't know who is going to be part of who, right? So we will do based on majorly by names, majority of the time. Just don't worry much. We'll just go by the namings, and maybe if your name is S, then all of you might be in the same group. That's the one way of doing. We'll go very simple steps. Just don't be too cautious around it. As I mentioned, if people across the world can collaborate, then I don't think it's very tough for you. Now you have 56 people, I guess. Each group might be 8 or at the max 9 in each group. There will be 6 groups. So initially we said we'll make 10 groups, but I'm just thinking it will be 6. Out of the 6 groups, 3 groups will get a chance to present. My suggestion is the other 3 also be prepared with your presentations. In case we have time left like this, you will also be given chance to present your work. Kaviraj, hope that answers. Thank you. Okay. So if you are not asking any more questions, we understand that you understood everything very well, perfectly. You are going to get 100 by 100 marks in the upcoming exercise.
Oh, I see one reason for them to not being actively asking questions. Either they are like completely aware of all the things, or they are bored of regularly attending these online classes, sitting from home.
I don't think
trying
if
to
I
take
pay
a
something,
break.
I think I'll make sure I utilize it, right? That's the reason we put some money there. I hope you value that and ask questions. Huh? Okay. If nothing else, guys, we will leave you now, and then allow you to continue the exercise. Just look forward for our meal. Today, it might be coming in an hour or so, or maybe post lunch, you will get at least a mail where which group you are part of, and then the video links, etc., so that you can start working from today afternoon. And then please complete it by Tuesday and present to us on support@csabangalorechapter.com. We are here to help. Otherwise, also please send a note or mail to us. We are all available even on LinkedIn. If any of you want to chat or ask any questions, we are happy to answer any of your questions. Yeah. With that, I think it's a time to say thanks and say bye. Happy weekend. Stay happy and stay healthy.
Stay safe.
Now we are getting
Have a
questions. See, it so happens. This is not new for me. What are we supposed to present? Is it how we done it? So there are Krishna Muni, right? Krishna Uni. See, we have given you the objectives listed in that 41 slide 41. You need to just complete that objective. For example, it is an account, create an account of S3 bucket, then create an account on AWS, then you need to prove that you have created an account. And second, create an S3 bucket, you need to prove that you have done S3 bucket. And what are the steps you have done, couple of snapshots. And you have any learnings you have you got, that also you could add. So that is what you need to present, right? So it is not a theory which you can cut and paste, but please ensure that you have created something, and that is a snapshot you are attaching in the PowerPoint. Also come up with your stories of what did you learn, what are the problems you faced doing it, and then how did you address it. Can you send a spreadsheet so we can make our own group? We can make our own group. I think this is still going on with can we make our own group is a good idea, but as we said, it is quite complicated for us to do that. Sorry for that. Please post your LinkedIn account address so it would be more convenient to send a message. See our names, just you know our names. I think during the group, just type our names in the LinkedIn and you will get it. Very easy. It's not quite complicated. Just full name. We are unique actually. You will get our names somehow. But anyway, jokes apart, we will give you the post is like the direct post is support@the CSABangalorechapter.com. Okay, what should we do if a group member does not cooperate? That's a good idea, Raviraj. It so happens.
So just want to answer this question, Satya. Can I go ahead?
Please go on, Prakash.
See, the purpose is multifold. We want you to understand one thing, that individual learning is very important. And that is why we have created a video for you so that individual learns. Second thing, we want you to understand that you have to do a collaboration with the people who is not like-minded like you, right? You may be too fast, other person will be a little bit slow. The important point which will be the outcome from this complete exercise is that you are getting a benefit of learning AWS Cloud. You are getting a self-development exercise where you will get a confident to discuss about cloud with a person who is totally new for you, right? And bring it to a level. And that is why we are saying that you are not allowed to create a group, because you will create a group with like-minded people whom you know, right? And we want you to work with the people whom you don't know. It's a random group. Maybe you are lucky enough to get one person from your team. But the purpose is not only you learn cloud, but you should be able to explain the cloud to the other. What is the advantage if you do honestly this exercise? The advantage is you are getting prepared for the interview. Let me be very honest, because once you do this group exercise, you individually, you learn it by watching the video, right? But when you work with a group, one person will become a leader. The person who will become a leader is not like he's a boss, right? You have to come together, help him, provide him with the data. You have to work on the presentation, and this will actually help you to bring apart from the skills, soft skills will develop. And that is the purpose of this entire assignment. I hope I answered the questions.
And I think there was a question from Hemant asking what if we already have a AWS account. So if one of you, for example, you have 9 members in the group, I'm just giving an example number, and one of you have an AWS account, just ask the other person to create. I am confident that at least one in the group might not have had an AWS account, and then just make it so that you have that idea. But in case your entire group has a AWS account already, just I think go forward and go with this S3 account, but just showcase that you already have an AWS account. It's your account you are using. Okay, but it's important at least one of the team member follows it. I've always seen that there is a chance that some of them may not have access. But that's okay. We are looking for more questions, Kaviraj. Please go on. Okay, so I know this today. I think you are really not. Not as interactive as we expect it to be. Next time, I think you will come with questions and going to ask us more, and then utilize this chance and opportunity to interact and learn from us. Hopefully, that's what we are looking forward in the following session. It's important that we learn as a part of the group. Every session is a learning for us also. So any questions you have or any queries you might have, just as I said earlier, repeating again, support@CSABangalorechapter.com. So with this, I think we are going to close the session. We appreciate all of you for giving your valuable time and be an interactive audience, and then going to be a great in the next week. I'm looking forward for your presentations. Instead of Sujata or Akash talking and presenting, you guys will be there and presenting your activity. I'm looking forward to do that. See that.
Trust me, your 90% questions will be answered if you watch the video. Now, my next question is that, your next question is that if you already have an account, please feel free to use it. But the purpose is that individuals should watch the video separately. Individuals should create the account separately. Individuals should do the exercise separately. But when it comes to a group, one person is going to do a presentation, one person, and everyone will prepare the PPT, the input. That is what the expectation is. You should not share your email ID. You should not share your accounts. Create your own. Trust me, this is the way to learn cloud. Cloud is very simple. The only thing which it requires is time. And we all learn it a very hard way. At least you are getting a straightforward, simple videos. Satya, myself has learned it a very hard way, right? But the purpose is that you should not face those problems. That is why we have created those videos. We have created the seminars for you. But only thing is that you have to create the account. If you do not create the account, you do not play with the cloud, I'm sorry, you will get a theoretical knowledge. You will not get a practical knowledge. And trust me, the industry needs talented people like you who can actually solve the problems. So you can only solve the problem when you have a practical experience. So invest your time in learning cloud, and this is one of the area where large number of skill sets is required, large number of people are required, and you have an opportunity to get a good job in this area. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that additional inputs, Akash. And with this, guys, we are closing the session. Appreciate all your time. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of your families. Thank you.
For you, core group, can you stay on, please?
Sure.
Sure, Satya.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye-bye.